So we are here for that NCAA Women's College Basketball Series for Thursday, March 5th, 2026. So we have number 7 Oklahoma beat Florida E264. Number 11 Ohio State E359 or Indian. Oregon 70 defeats number 14 Maryland 73-68. Number 17 Kentucky 76-60. Those were. And then those last two were in the Big Ten tournament. Another one that's tournament center. Number 17 Kentucky 76 number 22 Georgia. We're number 18 Michigan State the Big Ten tournament. In the Phillips 6 Big 12 tournament. Kansas State defeats Texas Tech was up 10. They were up 47-37 after 4 quarters. Or 3 quarters, my bad. They were up 47-37 after 3 quarters. Texas Tech, number 1 Texas Tech was. Kansas State just went up big, huge 50-21 for a 4th quarter run. They win it 58-51. So, wow. And 24 with 73-57 or Auburn in the SEC tournament center in the SoCon Championship quarterfinal. Chattanooga defeats Western Carolina 66-47 in the Latin Environmental Championship second. Chicago 61-50 over St. Bonaventure. And the AAC tournament comes in 63-50 Virginia. And we have the ACC. We have the NEC in the regular season yesterday on the 5th of March. The NEC did. And this, in Fairleigh Dickinson, this was St. Francis' final game in the NEC. The top 8 make it to quarterfinals, and there's no first round for 7 through 10. They play top 2 seeds. There's 7-10 were plays number 2 seed, and the 8-9 were plays 1 seed. Not like that. And the NEC top 8 make it, the other 2 do not. So they just have and skip the 8, so Fairleigh Dickinson advances. So Fairleigh Dickinson has a perfect regular season, 6 with an 61-3 win over St. Francis, Pennsylvania. And St. Francis moving down in Division 3. They actually dropped to Division 3, the President's Conference, so they could. And they did that so they could have more opportunities for students to be in the classroom more. They wanted their student athletes going traveling from Pennsylvania to New Jersey, which New Jersey not super far, but going to instead of being the Northeast, like Pennsylvania, New Jersey, New York, that's a bit up in the Northeast area. You have Chicago State. You're traveling to Chicago, once a year in every sport, and it just feels like, in volleyball you're traveling to Chicago, or softball, maybe not your mates playing in softball or baseball. You might be sharing the softball team when you're going to Chicago's. The baseball team this year next year will be the baseball team, so that might be changed. Or if you play back-to-back games at the same home for volleyball, so when you might be playing with them here in Chicago, or same with soccer. So, but still, you're traveling to Chicago, possibly back. It's kind of long, possibly trips. And even they were saying a Division 3 conference might stay in state. I'd be Pennsylvania only. Be that. I'm not sure exactly what part of Pennsylvania, but they're senior borders of other states. You might have a few members from other states that are in the. You might just cross that border just a little bit. Not going super far. It's all busable. They're all busable. You're not getting on planes to fly unless you're going to NCAA tournament games for your sports, for all the sports. You're not, So it's St. Francis' final year in Division 1. This is their final game for women's basketball. They still have a women's lacrosse. They still have lacrosse if they have a women's lacrosse. And they still have softball, baseball. They're ending men's volleyball. So Then we have High Point wins in this Big South quarterfinal. Championship quarterfinal. 70 wins, 53 second state. And the Metro Catholic wins championship first round. And Hannah wins over Marist 64-55. In the Big Ten tournament center. Washington 76-64 USC. And the Eastern Championship quarterfinal. S&P upsets Eastern Kentucky 45-4. So Eastern Kentucky is not going to the NCAA tournament. Eastern Kentucky now best will get like a WBIT bid, or they'll get a WNIT bid, one of the two. But Eastern Kentucky you'll still see Eastern Kentucky around in the postseason. It just depends on which tournament they're going to be making it to. Are they going to be making it to the WBIT or the WNIT? We'll see. But I can almost bet you that these players for Eastern Kentucky are going to want to play in the post. If I was a coach of a team, and basically, and they might say, "What's your values?" And I'm like, well, if we're going to play in the postseason, if we don't make it to the NCAA tournament, we're going to play in it. Give our like young ladies an opportunity, young women, an opportunity to play in the postseason. Get some experience for next season, or it might not be the result you want. You want to get in the NCAA tournament, if you're one and done. But we'll take it, and have an opportunity to move on farther, and play some more games, get some more games and get some more practice and some more time together, honestly. So, and we have South Alabama. They defeat Texas State. They move 16-15 to the South Alabama. Did not have. They had some players out due to ejections. They were ejected for this game. And there was 8 players from them in Coastal Carolina. So South Alabama moves on, and they win 16-15. So they have so South Alabama's moving on to play Marsh on the 4th round. It's gonna be really tough for them. South Dakota State, Athletic Championship quarterfinal, 75-61 over Kansas State. East Tennessee State 62-51 over Minnesota Championship quarterfinal. And the OVC Championship quarterfinal. Southeast Missouri State 60-55 over Red State. St. Joseph 66-55 over Duquesne. Benton Championship Center. Yeah, LIC Championship Center. Notre Dame 68-54 Miami. Big South quarterfinal. Has Winthrop defeat Gardner Webb 64-52. North Carolina Central 67-41 over South Carolina State. The final in MEAC ending their regular season today. FC Garment defeats St. Peter's 47-34 in the Metro Catholic Conference Championship first round. In the Phillips 66 Big 12 Tournament Center, BYU defeats Utah 70-52. That second quarter really had it for Utah. And that second half was pretty dominated by BYU. Stetson defeats Florida Gulf Coast Sun Championship quarterfinal 70-63 in the West Coast Conference Tournament first round. Washington State defeats CIU 80-58. Louisiana Monroe advances to. They play in the second. They won the second round game. They got by a second round, and then they won the third round against Southern Miss. So now they're playing Old Dominion in the 4th round. North Dakota State 87-37 Omaha. Just a dominating ball in the Summer League for championship quarterfinal for Omaha for North Dakota State. Samford defeats Wofford in the SoCon Championship quarterfinal 59-57. Southern Indiana dominates SAU 72-44 in the OVC Championship quarterfinal. In the Bear Mountain 10 Championship second, Dean defeats George Washington 62-54. Syracuse 70-59 winner over California. In the SWAC, Florida 66-60 over Bethune-Cookman. Jacksonville defeats West Georgia 86-77 in the ASUN Championship quarterfinal. San Diego 66-62 over St. Mary's in the West Coast Conference first round. Howard defeats Mia. Then Howard gets the number 1 seed in the Mia tournament with a 74-50 win over Norfolk State. Marination Shore 56-48 over Delaware State. Oregon State beats Coppin State 64-54. And then we had Furman defeat Mercer 66-45 in the SoCon Championship quarterfinal. In the Big South Championship quarterfinal, Radford over Charleston Southern 86-67 in the Northeast quarterfinals. Two of them. First, there were campus sites. The Northeast does a campus sites. And the Patriot League still does campus sites. And so does the Northeast Conference. But those championships are televised, so they're on the last day. To Patriot League is on the 15th, so it's American Northeast Conference. And then but the ASUN women were still televised. On the 14th, 15th, they would do it. They would still play. They would that getting rid of the campus state format. It wouldn't be. And we had Vermont 55-40 over Albany. Merciers defeats Moan. Merciers was 0-11 in the non-conference. They go 14-4 in NEC, played 14-15 overall, and they are the number 2 seed in the NEC. 72-66. Drexel 70-56 over Hofstra. So there's one more game for that Coastal Athletic Association. Not every team, but some teams. Some are actually 5-0, 5-2. So 18 games in the Coastal Athletic Association you play in the regular season. And the final one, and the final games for SWAT are on Thursday. Mississippi State defeats Jackson State 66-50. Texas Southern over Purdue Union 111-64. Rambling defeat Alabama State 68-50. Stonehill 69-61 over Chicago State in the third Northeast playoff quarterfinal. Binghamton, right? Thought they stunned Binghamton with getting late too. But then Binghamton came back and stunned Bryant. And the Binghamton Bearcats defeat the Bryant Bulldogs 45-44. Arizona State over Iowa State 77-60. And they fought 66 Big 12 tournament second round. In the final Northeast quarterfinal, NBC defeats NJT 66-65. Stalinium is your number 1 seed in the SWAT tournament with a 64-61 win over Southern. Belmont 83-63 over Valparaiso. Valparaiso has one more game left in the regular season. They play 20 games in any Missouri Valley Conference play. And one more chance for a win in the regular season. And then they have the conference tournament. They're going to be a 12 seed in the conference tournament. And they're going to play the 5 seed in their first round. So, we'll see if they have a chance. If they win in their last regular season game, or this season, or they can pull off some miracle upset in the conference tournament. And I'll move on. We have Northern Iowa's 92-73 over Indiana State. Drake defeats Illinois State 73-55. Bradley 82-61 over Evansville. Arkansas Pine Bluffs defeats Elkhorn State 66-61. Century Ag gets win number 2 in the season, win number 2 the season, which comes in NEC play as well. 60-50 on Raven. Campbell 60-51 over Hampton. It's been having the rough fourth quarter. The rest of the first and second quarter, really the ones, especially that second quarter. The second quarter is really dominant. The first was 2 after they got out of the important thing. Campbell did. Campbell. And then Charleston with that dominant third quarter, 26-9. They win it 66-43 over Slinger. North Carolina A&T 55-46 over Newton. Elon falls to William Mary 70-59. The final game for the Coastal Athletic Association is on Saturday. They usually do Fridays and Sundays, but the last week of the regular season, they do not do Fridays and Sundays. You go to Thursdays and Saturdays. There's some though for the Missouri Valley Conference. They're doing Sunday the 8th last regular season games. Some, not all teams, but some men's teams. Some men's teams do use March 8th as, maybe they have games on TV. The games on the TV networks. They want games that day, they know what they're showing, like earlier in the game, possibly. So, yeah. That's so the women are using some of the Missouri Conference teams are playing, and then the rest of your season games. Some are playing on Saturday, some are playing on Sunday. If you were playing on Sunday, we have Monmouth 83-77 Townsend, Long Island University 78-7 Wagner. Governor Baptist gets a win in overtime, or 20th, with a 76-60 winner over Helbing Christian. In the Merrimack 10 championships around, the South 15 St. Louis. In the LAC tournaments around, Virginia Tech 62-54 Georgia Tech. Georgia State 65-54 Turnerton. Sam Houston 71-50 Utah. Louisiana Tech is going to be your number one seed. Already has locked up their number one seed, but they're in the conference tournament, but they're 88-47 blowout win over Mexico State. Missouri State 65-38 over Western Kentucky. In double overtime, Florida National defeats Middle Tennessee 80-78. Murray State is going to be your number one seed in the Missouri Valley Conference, 18-1 overall record. They almost got stunned by USC, the USC Flames, but Murray State does win 76. Utah Valley 74-53 Southern Utah. In Central Arkansas defeats Northern in the final Eastern Championship quarterfinal 67-56. Alabama defeats Tennessee 76-64 in the SEC tournament second round. In the Big South quarterfinal, championship quarterfinal, the final one, Longhorn defeated UNC Asheville 72-58. UC defeated Long Beach State 58-56. UC Northridge 82-47 for Costa Rica. UC San Diego 77-60 over Costa Rica. UC Ren 85-60 over Kapolei. And then Hawaii 89-56 Research. And Corral defeated Kansas 58-48. Missouri at second quarter, the 14-7 second quarter. I won it for Corral. And then, in the Big West, the final games of the Big West regular season are on Saturday. Big West normally does Thursdays and Saturdays anyways, so they're just going to do, and they're doing that to wrap up the season. They played to a final week of the regular season as possible,